Humans tend to express their creative skills and imagination through different ways, among them being artistic works. It can be through music, dancing, literature, painting, and drawing. Our search for the next enforcer has led us to Ruiru, where we get to meet Julius, who is bringing out the beauty of his imaginations through painting, drawing, and literature. And this is his story.
I go by the name Julius Wainaina. Baptist name, I go by the name Quinton. I am an artist, a dancer, a young entrepreneur. I do interior painting. I do sort of things, but basically major things I do is art. And and I'm learning new things in the industry also to come up with something new, to change people's life and also to impact people's life. I was born in Matunda, 1996. A third born. I studied at Silver Bells, then went to Kamukunji Primary School. After that, I came to Ruiru on 207, and I started my school in Matopeni Primary School, and then went to Ruiru Boys High School. From there, life took its own course. God was faithful. I started painting when I was a kid, and I fell in love with it. I wanted to pursue art, but unfortunately the school fees were a bit, but I don't basically say the school fees was a challenge, because I believe if you push yourself, you're going to attain whatever you have. So I pushed myself, and here I am. Driven by passion, Julius decided to pursue his interest at a young age, despite his parents being against it. I can say that art comes in two dimensions. We call talent and passion. Everyone has talent. Same as you have yours, but I believe yako umeficha. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So if you look in the book, the Bible says that to whom much is given, much is expected. So out of art, I came up with few ideas. Not I was given the ideas. And as how I view art, art is quite different on how people view it. In terms of me, I see art in terms of we are the canvas, God is the painter. So everything was created in terms of God's planning and imagination. So according to the things I do, it's imagination, storyline, because everything has a purpose and plan. So I have to sit down, write the storyline behind it so that I can able to paint. So in terms of passion, I believe not only in terms of passion, but I believe in terms of achieving more. Because in art, even the greatest artists who lived, Picasso, Da Vinci, but basically I follow Da Vinci because he's a genius in terms of his own making. Yeah, so art, talent is followed by passion. You can have talent, but you can't achieve anything without passion. Yeah, I started painting when I was very young, basically, but if I can say, if only my mom na mzee wangu nishikilia mkono, sasa tungekuwa tunakula lunch Dubai alafu breakfast China. But anyway, yeah, as according to African generation and parenting, it's a bit hard for people to be supported. 90%, if right now I can say, basically you love whatever you're doing. So in terms of African culture, we are forced to study for the things that don't even fulfill us or give us the essence of living the next day. So as for me, in terms of being the third born in the family, and I decided to pursue whatever I love, because even the Bible says that you can do all things, but all things comes through planning. That is in the book of Habakkuk, write your vision in bold letters. So I started writing my business plan back when I was in Form 1, yeah, end of Form 1. That is after I've interacted with a few people, I was able to learn a few things concerning business. So I had to convert whatever I love into business. Yeah, I can say it was a world war, because my parent wanted me to pursue this and I wanted to pursue this. So it has been one hell of a journey, even till now. Sometimes I find my mom be like, you need to stop painting, you need to stop art, you need to look for business, a job you do. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. But I have been working at a call center, but every time I find myself, sometimes I can talk with a client, but my mind is far away in terms of painting. So most of the time I'm having sketches. Sometimes it's prohibited to carry a book and a pen upstairs. So it's not an easy journey, But I normally believe where there is difficulties, that means there is a better view ahead. Yeah.
Despite the journey being challenging for him, he has learned that sacrifice is the main key thing to succeed.
The journey, I can't say it's easy. I can say it's fun. In terms of challenges, in terms of people pulling you back, in terms of situations, having bills to pay, having to sacrifice things. For instance, you feel like you need to buy some few clothes, some few things in the house, but at the end of the day, you find yourself allocating so much of the resources in your dreams because people can't invest where you haven't invested. In terms of business-wise, you have to invest in yourself for people to invest in you. Knowledge-wise, material-wise, a lot of things. So it's not easy, but I can say it's fun. Because 90% of my teachers and my lessons have been trial and error, and it's fun. So you make mistake, you learn, and you be like, now I have to take this and I have to pursue. And it's fun, by the way. So I can say it's lovely. Yeah. I started earning in terms of painting when I was in Form 2. Yeah, so I started doing backdrops back in Rural Boys where I used to study. So it's funny. Sometimes I used to boost my school fees, helping my mom pay my school fees in whatever things I used to do. I started doing murals, but I wasn't that professional in terms of material, in terms of pricing. But the rate of earning that, I can't say it wasn't that good, but at the moment you still have to put something on your pocket and appreciate something. In terms of tithing, you had to do whatever you have to do. So it has been a journey in terms of finances, but where I am, I can say that I'm much better than where I used to be. So I have learned through the process, and I have met success in the process, not the success itself.
This is how he comes out with his masterpiece.
I normally use two dimensions, if I can say two categories. One, I can check on something and then I modify it, but basically whatever I'm working on at the moment, it's because I have been away in terms of my dream. I've been away studying, doing practice, but this year I made it intentional and purposely. I want to do it in terms now of business. So I'm focused in terms of giving our heritage back, because if you look in terms of African culture, we have forget so much. So I want to focus in terms of African culture and African style, and also not only to modify things, but I want to stop now modification. I want to focus now in creating things from ground. Yeah.
Balancing school and art was not easy for him and his parents, which pushed him down, but they later came to an agreement.
The most hardest thing you can ever do, being a teenager with hormones and having money. Yeah, you know, back then when you have money in your pocket, that was back then. I finished high school in 2016. Yeah, 2016. So when you're in Form 2, Form 3, you have money. You're the boss. You're the boss. You know, sometimes you have to, and it became a bit destructive in terms of balancing books and business, because I had no one to walk me through. So my grade somehow, you know the story, when you almost getting, you start to stutter like D for dog. Yeah, but I had to balance things in terms of asking people for help, reaching out for the right people. And it wasn't easy, because sometimes you're in class and at the back of your mind, you know there is a client you're supposed to meet. So you're like, when is this class ending? When is the day ending? I go do 1, 2, 3. It wasn't easy. I made mistakes. I learned a lot from my failures, and I can say if it wasn't for those lessons, I wouldn't be where I am right now. Yeah. I remember there was a time back in class 8, that was in 2012. Yeah, 2012. No, it was on 2011. When I was in primary Matopeni. I remember there was a time, it was third term almost approaching Christmas. Mom didn't have anything like in terms of money, and there was a contest in art, so I participated. And after participating, Mom was like, you're not studying, you're focusing so much in terms of art. And it became a war. Apparently I was whooped so good, and the following day was the time I was supposed to submit my artwork, and God was faithful. To fast forward the story, I became number 3 in the contest, and I won a gift voucher of 20,000. So I came home with shopping of 20,000, and my mom was like, where have you stole the money? It wasn't easy, and my uncle came through and he talked to her, and she was like, whatever you want to do, you do it, but remember to study. So now coming back to high school, they knew the only distraction I had was one thing, art. And my mom was like, you got this, you can balance, just don't allow one thing to override the other. So you just need to balance what is important at the moment, that is school. So do it. The customers, they're going to be here. Just be open. Don't follow money so much and then you forget to study, because at the end of the day we are paying your school fees. So yeah, and I had to balance things. Yeah, I felt downgraded, I felt denied, I felt betrayed, because at the back of my mind I was like, you are the first people supposed to be my fan, my support, my team support, but it wasn't that easy. So I can say at some time God allows you to walk in a valley for you now to appreciate the view at the mountain. Yeah.
He tells me why art is of much essence to him, for he defines art as a therapy and part of his life.
Let's go back in the book of Genesis. And the Bible says, God said, let there be. And my inspiration came in that word, let there be. So I believe that everybody is an artist. But the problem is how to remain an artist once you grow up, because you are distracted. So art is my therapy. When I'm stressed, when I'm not okay, art is the only thing that makes me feel alive. Art gives me the essence of fighting for the better day, not for me, but also for in terms of community-wise. Having started a company, it's called Mad Art. Also trying to work with other artists in terms of collaboration, because the wise saying says that no man is an island. So it's awesome. Yeah, art is, I can say I'm married to art. Yeah, I'm married to it completely, merged, submerged, baptized, all that thing. So I can say art is me and I'm art. But above all, yeah, I'm doing this not for me, for the future generation to come, in terms of passing and preserving the African culture and heritage. Yeah.
In his art journey, he has been able to start his own company, and this is how it started, and it is faring to date. Mad
Art came when I was in Form 1. Apparently, I used to do business back then. In high school, I used to paint people's portraits in their lockers. So I will just come, look at you, take a pen, inside your locker, I paint your portrait. And I used to make 100 bob each. So I never asked for snacks money from my mom. Used to do business. So it was a bit hard and challenging. And after I painted, back then I used to go by the name Art Slave, because I felt like I'm a slave to art. And then a friend of mine, he's called Art Sam. We have been painting since Form 2. We have been doing business in terms of painting hotels, shops, yeah, for a very long time. So I remember I did a piece of him on the locker, and he said, this is Mad Art. And that name struck like, and stuck in my head like, this is the name. I needed to stick with the name. So I started writing the name Mad, and then A-R-T. I was like, no. By the time I was coming to the end of Form 1, I had the name Mad Art. I started incorporating the name company, and I was like, okay, God, why company? I don't have anything to do. It's just art, basically. And from there, a lot came now from Madat Company, Madat Empire, Madat Corporation, and the only thing that doesn't make me sleep, it's the fifth one, Madat Airlines. It's not easy, but I believe God, you're going to reach there. And we have Madat the Clan. It's a company, I can say it's a multi-trillion company. I speak faith, even though, yeah, Master said so. It has many subdivisions in terms of the company itself. So Madat, when you mention Madat, I'm like, wow, I can't believe I'm the one holding this. It wasn't easy because the past 2 years I've spent time in terms of studying the market and also trying to come up with something new. So at the moment I'm looking for customers and clients, but the people that I'm targeting right now are everyone, I can say. Those who are living in bedsitters, property developers, real estates, offices, hotels, clubs. Yeah, so everyone is my customer in terms of also coming up with body paint in terms of, yes, Kenya we do body paint, but in terms of the level that is supposed to be done, I can see people are not doing it the proper way, but people are doing it. So it's a bit of challenge, but it's, yeah, I'm getting there. Yeah, whatever thing I do, I normally work with 3 rules, just like I was taught in high school: speed, neatness, and accuracy. So sometimes you'll find a client says that they need something to be done specifically. They give you the instruction and everything. You do that specifically, and every single thing fall into their description, but now it becomes a bit challenging. So for that, you have to go back inside your pocket, buy the paints and everything, then come now redo it. Because for me, I value quality instead of quantity. So whatever the clients want, that is whatever I'm going to deliver. Yeah, but it's not a good thing basically, because maybe you've spent 2 days. 2 days you're supposed to be elsewhere making something, but now you have to spend another 2 days. So yeah, it's challenging, but at the end of the day, you're learning also to listen to clients' demands and meet their satisfaction. Yeah.
And this is his biggest project so far.
My biggest project that I've ever done was back then in 2017, immediately after high school. So that time, I spent time, I went did Mujengo for some time, but Lord Jesus, that job is not good. I did the job for a month, and let me tell you, story for another day. We'll talk about that. So come January 2017, I received a phone call from Ruru Girls High School, and the teacher was like, is this Julius? I'm like, yeah. So I was given a number by your sister, Purity. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. She told us that you can do backdrops, and I was like, okay. At the back of my mind, I have never done any backdrops, but the saying goes, take the job, you learn in the process. I took the job and I called a friend, and he's called JR, that is my art mentor, Pencil King. He does illustration, he's awesome, he's best in his work. I was like, Jay, I don't know how to do this job, but I've taken the job. And he was like, okay, we're going to do this. How much do you charge? So in terms of now charging the price, hours you're working, and the quality that you're supposed to deliver, it all comes up in terms of how you charge. And I asked him, can you help me do the job? And he was like, I will help you in one condition, that I'm just going to paint whatever now the type of color or anything that you are told to do, now it's your job. So I just painted the backdrop white. Now it was my turn for me to paint things. And we spent 2 days painting 36 backdrops. Yeah, so I remember that was the biggest project, painting 36 backdrops in 2 days. And everything had to be done precisely. And it was the best thing. From there, and the biggest project I've ever done, it was in Nakuru doing murals. but it was a private collection, so apparently I wasn't allowed to take pictures or to post anything. It was for a Hindu guy. So I did the painting, the mural. It was like in his garage, no, in the house. It was a huge wall. So I did, and yeah, so I'm looking forward also to do the next big projects in this year, basically, in terms of working with organizations, hotels, clubs, and even children's homes and even churches. Yeah, the biggest project I've done, that was last year. I worked with a couple of friends, Fawaz and Leon. We did interior painting that was in Illusion in Trinity Chapel at Thika Road. Yeah.
His focus is not only on art because he also does furniture work, and this is how it is started.
I do furnitures. I make pallets. I make tables using tree logs, chunk trees. I do a lot of things in terms of now art, but basically also the people that I want to work with are the interior designers. Yeah, so it's something new in the market. I've been studying the market for the past 9 years. So accumulating information and strategies. Yeah. Furnitures, I started it when I first passed, I was heading to Karen to take some of my paintings to Waterfront. It's called UM Gallery. I passed some pallets tables and I was like, okay, they are great, but as an artists, we are not okay. I can say we are sort of not okay. We want to, it can be done better. So we have that notion, it can be done and it must be done better. So from there, I started doing sketches in terms of the tables, bedwise, shelves. So one step at a time, until I reached a point where now I can confidently say that I can do it.
Having done various projects, Julius is still aiming high.
My dream project, I can say it, dream project, I would love to work with United Nations. United Nations, that is my dream project. I would love to work with them. Not in terms of money, but in terms of passing whatever they're doing, in terms of paintings, in terms of murals. My dream project, it's to visit friends. I have a few friends in Cuba, Australia, Malta, France, New Zealand. I have a bunch of friends who, they're basically artists. So, and my dream project is to work with one person, TD Jakes. For this, what inspired me, it's sorry to say this, I hope you're going to keep this low profile, don't tell anyone. So this painting, it's the second piece. I did it the first one, but I later sold it. So this painting, it's, first of all, it's not yet finished. It's a 4 hours project, 4 hours, purely 4 hours project. So it's called Relationship. We have a lady and a guy. So it's like we have few hands. I haven't finished the painting yet itself. So it speaks in terms of relationship wise, in terms of passion, in terms of persistency. Very many factors in terms of life. Finances, distance, family wise, religion, culture, trying to pull you apart in terms of whatever you want to achieve. So I can view this in terms of relationship wise, but not only relationship wise, but relationship for what you love. So sometimes you push yourself to achieve something, but you can't achieve it because you have a lot of very many factors trying to distraction, finances. It's a lot. So that's why I created this piece. This is the second one. The first one, the exact piece I did. I was broke at that moment. I sold the entire piece, the same size, at only 3,500.
It's okay.
The paint. It took me 24 hours to do the entire concept. The reason as to why I love painting on cheap boards, it's because if I'm bored with the painting itself, instead of hanging, I can redo the entire painting now to build it in terms of a coffee table or a table.
Oh,
Yeah, so I can recycle the entire pain. Yeah.
Wow, so what inspired you in this kind of relationship?
A relationship, it inspired me in terms of 5 years, being in a 5 years relationship. But yet I'm single. So, yeah, so sometimes you find yourself, you invest so much in something that needs to be done, but apparently, on the contrary, we all know that whatever you're investing in is the wrong one. So God would be like, you invested 5 years, just like I did, 5 years, but then you find yourself that is not what you're supposed to do. So I had to be cautious in each and every relationship, in terms of business-wise, in terms of people that I welcome to my life. Can we be able to avoid circumstances? Can we be able to pull things through for us to make this relationship work in terms of business, in terms of friendship-wise? Because I'm not supposed to be there in terms of your life partially. Even in the book of Ecclesiastes says that there is season and time. So we have to understand time and season. So apparently, the relationship-wise, it has season and it has time. So for me, I wasn't keen in terms of season. So I was focused with time, but yeah.
He unveils to us his other hidden artistic capabilities, such as poetry and dancing.
Yeah, I do poetry. I've been writing some few poetry in terms of years. I met a guy called Tesh, aka Gitegi Kimodho. He's a photographer, he's a spoken word writer, he's a performer, standing performer, spoken word artist. He's the best in what he does. And I have been doing spoken word for quite some time. Yeah. Until last year, 24th, that is the time I decided to perform. It has been 3 years before I performed any poetry. So I've been writing. And basically this year being 2023, I purposely, intentionally want to do whatever I'm given to do. In terms of art, I've been dancing for the past 9 years. Yeah, I'm a dancer, professional dancer, choreographer. I can say it's a lot. Yeah, that's me.
This is where he finds his poetic inspiration and the various emotions that comes with it.
2 people. That is God. Second thing, it's who I am. In terms of culture-wise, I'm proud of being an African. I'm proud of being who I am. So I can say that what inspires me apart from God, it's me. Whatever I perceive in the society, community, whatever I perceive through people, the knowledge, the trick people have indulged me with, the lessons learned in the community, the pain, the happiness. So I find that, and even the emotions itself. Yeah. Sometimes I cry. Sometimes it makes me happy. Sometimes it makes me fall in love with who I am. Because I believe in terms of me, I fall in love with who I am. Back then, I used to see myself as a weirdo. Yeah. So just to make it clear, I love being alone most of the time. That's me. So I love being alone. But this year, I'm trying to move out of that cocoon, try to be social with people. As much as I'm known by the people, not many people know who I am. Yeah, so that's me. And it's not easy. It's not easy, but spoken word, art, dance, give me an essence of smiling. Give me an essence of falling with love with who I am so much, oftentimes. Sometimes, everybody, sometimes we fall off the track, out of the track, we veered off the road completely, and sometimes we need just that, a spark to bring us back to life. And I have tons of things, spoken word, I have art, I have dance, I have to make tables, I have to make people happy, because that's me. I stopped doing the writing last year, but this year I want to start now writing. Not only writing, but I want to, every piece that I'll be writing, I want to perform. So I just, yeah, I want to write, perform, not just to write. So I'm working on something. Yeah, it's called Marriage and Sex, something like that. So yeah.
He finds inspiration to every piece he writes, regardless of the challenges within.
It gives me inspiration, but at the end of the day, I'm like, basically the problem with us artists, 90%, if you haven't completed something, when you go back to it, you have another idea. So we tend to leave it the way it is, come back. If you feel you can add something, add. If you feel like you can't add, leave it. Because I can write a poetry, maybe a few lines, and then I'm like, I go, think deeper in that line. So when I come back, I can expand that line in terms of one line to give me like 6 lines. So I have wrote like 24 lines, 24 bars in terms of rhythm, perfection, lines. So by the time I'm coming now to this poetry in terms of, as much as I want to perform it the way it is, I've gained knowledge, I've gained skill, I've gained momentum in terms of how it's supposed to be performed. So I'll end up sabotaging the whole page. So the best thing, just leave it the way it is, or take that one piece, sit down, rewrite it again, and then come up with something new. Yeah, basically, now that's where the challenges come in terms of an artist. You take things personally. I take failure personal. I take things so personal. So sometimes we avoid facing the reality, but the reality is still there, so we have to face it. So sometimes I feel disappointed, sometimes I feel happy. Disappointed that I did not give myself enough time to perform. At the same time, I feel happy. I was able to write down whatever needed to be done. Like I've accomplished something, at the same time I have a half glass, half full, so you're just there. Yeah.
He encourages families and the government to support young talents, and mostly the Kenyan artists.
So I can say that if we were pushed by the curriculum itself, people will be far. And also the curriculum in terms of subjects, lessons and everything, it's mixed up. So I can say it all starts back at home. If back at home people will appreciate. I have a friend of mine, he's an artist, I can't remember the name, but he's a PK, pastor's kid, and that guy has traveled more than 45 to 48 countries because his parent basically invested in that kid, like, you're doing art, here we are. So I can say it all begins with the family and even the society in terms of supporting you, because it's very hard for you being an artist, supporting yourself, pushing yourself. And then in terms of the government-wise, the government hasn't appreciated in terms of art. I remember last year, but I wrote 6 proposals to Kenya. I took them basically myself. I wanted to do mural in terms of road safety in the express highway, in terms of the pillars. And yeah, I was told I would receive a call till today. We are waiting for the call. But it's life. So the government can do much better if they can understand what we bring in terms of to the table as an artist, how we impact the community. Because I do believe we have a lot of amazing talent outside there in terms of art, but they are not yet recognized in terms of support-wise and everything. So I feel a lot is dying in our society. I feel a lot is dying inside us artists because we are not heard. Our voice is not appreciated. But basically in terms of artists, I can say if you have connections, so kuna wale wako na connections, and there are those you have to, prepare your ground and up there.
And these are the challenges he faces in his field of work.
Not painting, but art accessories. Yeah, quality brushes, they can range up to 6,000.
Wow, just one.
Quality brushes. So maybe that is like 6 or 5 pieces of brushes. You haven't budgeted for paints. You haven't budgeted for maybe canvas, for those who are using canvas. You haven't budgeted now to create a frame for the painting. So, and then you find someone be like, okay, a piece like this one, how much can you sell? Like, I have 2,500. You're like, 2,500. And if you look the amount of money that you've invested in that painting, now place the amount, now plus the time, you now creating that masterpiece. And then someone comes and say 2,500, and you're like, excuse me, let it be. The problem is, like I've said earlier, it's the community and African culture. We haven't been taught how to appreciate art and craft, so it's a bit hard for people also to appreciate whatever they haven't been taught of. Yeah.
This is his goal in life.
My goal in life is I'm planning to open a studio, not basically a studio in terms of art-wise. My goal in life as an artist is to open a studio. This is be like a campus, like a school, so I'm planning to call it a studio, where young artists, young creative people, you don't need to, I can say it's okay to pursue whatever, but you don't need to go to college, campus to pursue other courses, but this is where you can pursue whatever you love professionally. If it's music, you pursue it professionally. So it's like I say, it's a school, but it's called a studio sort of, where young artists will come, young talented people, young creative people will come and do their thing. Because I believe if we nurture the best, I do believe, I have this saying that says we are all good and bad at the same time. But now it depends on the perspective, because I do believe if people are given the correct information, the correct lessons, the correct tools, they can be the best in whatever they are given. So I do find that we as an African, we are moving around circle. We want to pursue, sorry to say this, we want to pursue the Western lifestyle, but we don't focus basically on whatever we have. Because sometimes we interact with people, with a person, and you're like, what is your talent? And someone is like, I don't have. And you're like, excuse me, you have. What is that one thing? I normally ask something. Right now, let me ask you, what is that one thing that you can do and you don't want, and precisely deep within you, it's not a must to be paid? Writing. That's me too. I love painting, so that's, you can just give me the paint, I can paint for you for free, because at the end of the day, whatever I'm going to paint, whether you like it or not, it will bring other customers to me. So even if you deny me money, money will come. So that's me. But you find people who have placed money instead of purpose. So it's supposed to be purpose, then money will follow. But it's vice versa, money first, then purpose. And that's why we have many miserable artists, musicians, dancers. So it's yeah. And also a visualization in terms of viewing your plans and your goals in the next year. So for me, I want to open a school in the near future, and in the near future, the biggest project that I would love God to accomplish, it's because I would love artists, I would love to make artists travel from Africa to abroad to go and showcase the world that we have more than enough. Yeah.
He advised young people to rely on God and for parents to support their kids and mold them to be the best version of themselves.
A young artist, I will advise him or her one thing: God first. Second thing, God first. Third thing, God first. Three things: God, God, God. And then another thing, plan. That is, every single thing you need in life, it's already written in the Bible. So go to the Bible. It says write your vision in bold letters, so write them. The same Bible says planning. If you read in the book of Genesis, the story of Joseph, you need to plan ahead of time. You need to visualize every single thing you want to do. So I can say Point number 1, God. Point number 2, God. Point number 3, God. You delight in God, you have everything. But you delight in your own ways, trust you me. Ask Julius, I will tell you. We have a saying in Kikuyu, I can translate it. It says that, it says, Okoro, Orago Nyinyi. So yeah. In other words, when you're old, you're eating a youth syndrome, something like that. I'm not quite okay with that, but anyway. So I can say, you never know. Sauti Sol alisema, they said this, how did they put it? Anyway, it's quite sophisticated, but let me put it in a simpler way. Support your kid. You don't know. He can be the next Picasso, he can be the next entrepreneur. So I will, like whatever I'm doing right now, I'm working so hard to make sure that I can support my kids in every single thing they desire to do. Because I have learned that in my parents' way, so I wouldn't want my kids to pass on the same path that I passed through. So if you're a parent out there, I can say, support your kid 100%. I call it 100-100. I normally say 100-100. Not just 100, make it times 3, 100-100-100. Be there, support them. And how parents pass their communication, it matters a lot to kids. So I had to fight a lot of voices. Yeah, voices. But if it wasn't for those voices, I couldn't be here. So as parents, support your kids. But one thing I can tell you is that our greatest weakness, it's our greatest strength. That is technology. So I will advise parents to raise their kid in the correct way. Yes, there is technology, but raise them to be the man or a lady they're supposed to be. Teach them values. If you're giving them J's, give them principles. So like mold them to be the next best version of where you as a parent you failed to be. So give them the best and expect the best, and they will be the best. So support their kids, support your kids, and invest in them as much as your parent and as much as God has invested in you. You can reach me. Twitter, I go by the name Madat. Facebook and Instagram, I go by the name Wines Julius. That name came after I completed I was in Form 3. I asked my brother to open a Facebook page for me, and he was like, what is your second name? Wainaina. Good. First name, Julius. He summarized the entire thing and was like, Wines Julius. So, Wines Julius, W-I-N-E-S, Julius. Wines Julius Facebook, Wines Julius Instagram, and Madat Company in Twitter. And phone number, it's 5956 1447 5956 1447. Fresh food. I'm an early person, but at the moment I'm struggling because I used to work international hours, so sometimes sleeping, it's, oh God, I turn in bed. But basically I'm an early person. I wake up at around 4, let's say 3. I sleep 4 to 3 hours. Biggest fear, it's getting old, but I'm not afraid of death. Yeah. How can the pockets of your pants be empty and still have something in it? I can answer that in terms of knowledge. You might not have something, but your brain has something. So eventually, so long as you have wisdom, you know how to get money. So at the end of the day, your pocket will still flow. That is, if I've answered it correctly.
No.
Lord Jesus, calm down. And the answer is?
That's because it has a hole.
Lord, riddles. One thing that I'm not good at, it's surprises and riddles. Lord Jesus. You surprise me, I'll take it as if it's just something usual. So sometimes we just have to lower the volume down. Instead of 10, let it remain on 3. Because if you remove the voices, you're going to be arrogant in whatever God has blessed you with.
From just but an interest, Julia's story has taught us that it is not just having a talent, but it's about making use of it. Enforce your talent to be a success. This is The Enforcers. My name is Jane Kibari.
So Mwatara Mahoka kupelekwa Muturu na bado wanavurugwa. Hii serikali ama serikali hawajali hadi za wanyonge mitaani, fisadi hadi kutimiza hadi za baadhi yao noma. Majiga na kunuka mgundo, bodi langu ja kukosa kiatu poa na bado tembeza kiatu ndo reply mupata nikienda kusaka kazi. Walinitapocha juu kila dena saka mandovu bado kukosa evidence juu mirudi mkono kavu. Biashara chafu zinasifiwa hadharani na ukizua unaulizwa muhadhara ni gani ya kutilia manani kuzidi kutamani utawala bora. Niliambo kutembea na bakora ifukuzi wakora. Sheria msumeno yetu na wakufria futa kungwa mtu meno. Nidhani place kuna wazae hapa haribiki neno mpaka ile dende kutoka kichwa cha mengo mienendo vitendo kumbe ni kuseti mitego. Kunipandishia bei ya public toilet juu nasikia nimekazwa, kunificha Dettol then kunipapasa place nimekatwa. Nasikia adverts za mosquito net siku hizi ni kuficha za dawa za malaria kupeana msaada juu wanahabari wako area na kushow ujinga ndo bakteria itatumada itatumada tusiporada place to blanda kuitwa muwaja futa kutry kukill impunity na full immunity kutry kucomply na zao malai sama ni committee ile city ile host John Keramiti alafu siku mbili njipate maiti tunatukana matiti ya mama tulinyonya then tupiga makofi mnashika dawa au kitukayo mna dilate the sleeping dogs lie wawezi mnatu invade mna back sana but sindo tunaweza ballot papers ballot boxes mtuchezea ka ballot ile alafu after 3 days unaona mpi wako kwa daily vuta sura piga kura ukifuata sera si hela si sura juu chura kufura si sura. Usisahau wezi kio kizunguzungu by kusoma kamusi kutoa leader move kwa ofisi ngumu kaa kutrain sumu na kitungu saumu juu ofisadi ukabila aidomo kujimudu ni kukazana ni lazima kuwasiliana na kulipa gharama juu tamaa zitaisha kwa kujishika tama na tamaa ndo tamati ya baraka. Hii history nasikia tangu kale ndio maana ina asira kabinti aliyebaka ukiwa bikra juu mafikra unikomesha nikishuka hii stage Wines Julius ndo jina kwa Facebook page.